if you could explain what is the crack?
The crack. How can I have the crack? What's the crack?
What is the crack? You are the crack.
Welcome to Audio Crack. We have a very special episode for you today. We have a special guest from Troll Toll. So the guy who created Troll Toll, the internet farm that sort of farms trolls to troll people, allegedly Alex Bennett used it to harass fights in KFC. And we're going to talk to him, see who else might be using some trolls, if any trolls have been sent after me, Billy, or anyone newsworthy or noteworthy. But before we get into that, we're going to do just a little current events. We had the first week preseason in the NFL. We had the Jets get a win. That's great to see. We saw Caleb Williams, kick it off for the Bears, and he did pretty well. But we also saw something interesting. This is something that I found very interesting. Jonathan Taylor decided to wear the new concussion guardian cap over his helmet. And I saw these in practice, and I've worn one before over my helmet. And something I find very interesting about this sort of extra protection is that it takes away the rebound effect of when you knock a helmet to helmet. So it gives more of a compression on impact, sort of like the crush zone of a car. But with that, honestly, this is just a total meathead, a meathead observation. But when you're hitting somebody in football, you kind of want the pop to use your head as a weapon. I know that's totally counterintuitive, but he might be putting himself at a disadvantage when he comes into collisions with people because he might be taking the hit more than giving the hit. And we'll see how it goes. When more people start using them. But I kind of feel that when you don't have the rebound effect, when you don't have the pop on your side, you're actually putting yourself at a disadvantage to basically just absorb all the hits. So I know the science says that it prevents concussions, but I almost feel like you're more likely to get teed off on when you have that cap on because your head isn't going to hit somebody else. You're going to be taking the hit instead of giving the hit. And I know that's just totally stupid and a meathead, but I think that guardian cap only works when everyone's wearing a guardian cap. And then that got me thinking, should we just get rid of the shell of the football helmet and just do a softer sort of pillow as opposed to a shell? Because when they originally invented football helmets, and there's a hilarious video of a guy just slamming his head against a wall when he was trying on the first football helmet. It's the funniest thing ever. We'll pull the clip. Check out the YouTube. But they did it because people were getting skull fractures. And that was the ailment they were trying to prevent by making the original football helmet. So we're now way more worried about concussions in this day and age, but I gotta say, we might have to get rid of the football helmet. I think if this is how this is going, I think we're going to basically end up totally changing the sport. Because with the helmet, that's like the whole way tackling's done. That's like the whole way we've structured the game. But would football be safer if we just didn't wear pads and took on a rugby type element where the tackling's different? It's not an impact velocity sport. It's more of a wrestle. Because that's the biggest difference between rugby and American football is that football, there's a pop and it's an impact sport and you're using your whole body as a projectile. Whereas rugby is more of like an art of grappling when it comes to tackling. So it's just something to look at. I don't know if they'll take that next step, but I wonder if Jonathan Taylor is going to keep wearing it because it might be a disadvantage in the hole when you're taking a pop. But great to see football back. Stetson Bennett throws a game-winning touchdown after throwing 4 interceptions. Stetson Bennett, you all know him from the Georgia Bulldogs, multiple national championship winner on a crazy dynasty team. But with him, he throws 4 picks. He left the team last year for personal reasons. Don't know what it is. Probably something, if it isn't shared, it's most likely something that, something painful. I'm not going to speculate, but to see him come back and pull off a win like that, especially after 4 picks, just good to see. Just love a good comeback story. A lot of these guys, I got into a huge hole last night, a huge rabbit hole of watching Colt Brennan highlights from Hawaii. And I don't know, I just feel like these big college football guys on the big stage, Johnny Manziel, it's, being a star football player, I'm not going to victimize them, be like, oh, it must be super hard. But some of these guys didn't come out too well for whatever reason. And Stetson Bennett, one of those guys, hopefully, he has a redemption arc, but playing under the big lights in primetime college football, for some reason, a lot of guys don't make it out, especially the quarterbacks, just for weird. I mean, the Colt Brennan story is just, it's sad to see. He got into a car accident. He was dealing with traumatic brain injury, but, it's good to see Stetson Bennett out there balling. You just want the best for these guys. We now welcome on a very special guest, KG Summer, the CEO of TrollToll.com, PayTheTrollToll.com, right. Has been making some headlines recently after a former Barstool employee ended up employing their services to troll other Barstool employees. So thank you for joining us, KG. How did this all start, and how are you dealing with the whole, being the Troll Toll guy?
So in terms of how it came across your desk, like anything else, it seems to be in that company. It's a little whisper that turns into a bigger conversation, and no one really takes the time to investigate or ask the questions. And it was, first off, what needs to be understood completely for any of this to make sense is we deal with confidentiality and privacy and anonymity. So the idea that somebody would get this information as a fact in and of itself is just based on something that our company just doesn't believe in. So that information getting out there, a conversation that happened, I believe, between a social media account and someone at Barstool's social media account in the DMs, saying that they had this information, they gave out numbers. I mean, that information just doesn't get shared like that. And then the bigger part of it is most of these people who have any type of stature, they're not doing their own dirty work. They have a publicist or an agent, a manager, whatever it is, who would be the name. So even for the sake of semantics, that person never paid me. Does that mean the money wasn't theirs? No. But I can sit here and not lie to you and say that person never paid me, because that's a true statement. So it's been a little bit of that. And the aggravating part, I think, is that it's been almost questioned how safe and private this is. I mean, I understand the counter is, hey, this person didn't pay you, so now like you're getting revenge. And again, one way or the other, we're never going to tip our hand. So it is frustrating for that, but I've loved the attention.
You never wanted any of this to get out.
It was never anyone's intention for this to get out. I mean, the conversation that I saw, the pieces of it that were with your coworker, we're talking about what our true plan was, and it was to take like actual legal recourse, use a collection agency.
Oh,
so
how did this all come about exactly? Because I actually am a little misinformed. I thought you guys. So basically, for those who don't know, it came out that Alex Bennett, former Barstool employee, I don't know if I think it's pretty. We don't even have to say allegedly. Was using your services.
Was using a service.
Using a service to troll. Who exactly were they trolling? Are you allowed to say that, or is that out in the open now?
That person never paid us. So I don't know what their intention was, but there was never a target at your company.
Oh, so there never was. So because they never paid you, the services were never done?
No, I'm not saying that either.
What can you say?
So when people come to us, they're given a level of privacy and they don't have to give us too much information other than what the goal is. Mm-hmm. There was never a list of people. Hey, give them a hard time, get revenge, do anything. That was never put in front of us. It was the projects that were put in front of us are, hey, we're trying something new here. Could you help us get comments, get shares, get likes, get retweeted? Oh. And then if people start commenting things related to a past life, give us a little protection.
Okay, so explain, for those who don't know, paythetrolltoll.com, what sort of the vibe that I got about your company was that you had a set amount of individuals, not just to drive interactions, but to troll, to like make negative comments. You're saying that the services that were bought were to cause interactions, to promote new content, and sort of stifle haters in the comments.
If this person in question was the person who purchased these services, yes.
Okay. So that's a little different than what everyone has been thinking, because everyone's been thinking that basically this person was maliciously using people, using your services to just attack other individuals.
Right. And in the conversation that happened with the person who seems to be on your company's behalf, made that clear. I think whether it's just to have something to talk about in the office, make yourself feel a little more, relevant in some bigger picture thing. But it was never indicated anywhere that those two people who spoke about this on their podcast were involved in anything.
Okay. So are we talking about KFC Radio?
Correct.
Okay. And are we talking about the individual who originally talked with you guys? Is that Kareem?
To the best of my knowledge, yes. I mean, that's the name on the Instagram. I don't know him.
Right. So you're a very powerful man now that I'm thinking about it. So now that I'm thinking about it, I might have a ton of trolls coming after me if we don't get.
No. It's if you go on the website, we don't do hate speech. We don't do bullying. These are people with real goals and obstacles to overcome that really just need a friend and some strength in numbers. I think when people are talking about internet trolls, they're thinking of sort of these two different groups. You have like the Doug Winoy types, who I know is big in the yak world, who's just out there entertaining, little turn of phrase, sarcasm, witty stuff, just giving you a little bit of a headache. And then you think of what you Google with elections, the troll farms, the bots.
Okay.
We're none of those things. We're our third thing, where people need somebody with a little fortitude to give them a hand.
Okay, so you're honestly doing a little more like of a positive reinforcement than negative, like just tearing people down in the comments, correct?
I'm not going to sit here and say some altruistic thing. Like, we are empowering people, but I mean, there's a lot of going after ex-boyfriends too.
I know confidentiality is big for you guys, but has anyone ever contracted you to go after me or to do anything in regards to my content?
Nothing. No.
Okay, cool.
No. I mean, you'd be surprised. First off, I've seen your Reddit board. I know no one in that building needs help with negative commenters commenting on their life.
Yeah.
The level of people I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis and the team deals with, they're folks who like wish they had your following so they could just send out a tweet and get some support.
Okay. Now I get it. Like, it's basically more of just like manufacturing following. Do you get a lot of like celebrity contracts? And not to delve on who, but
no, right. No. Yeah. We, I mean, I'm not going to name drop, but I guess I can, status drop. We have someone who will, for sure be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame who hired us. Influencers you absolutely would recognize have asked for some help, and you see it. You see their comments. You see
Right.
what people say to them, weight loss, accusing them of Ozempic and all that. They just want somebody out there who can steer the conversation in a different direction.
Okay. So now I'm understanding more of God. You always need backup sometimes. Maybe,
Right.
I wish I knew about your services earlier.
No, it's we had a salesperson reach out to Jersey Jerry. We saw Jerry's Army, and we're like, we can do this better. You can't trust these guys. We have real people.
Oh wow. So, but did Jerry take you up on the offer?
I don't even think you read the message.
Okay. So, what is the strategy exactly? Like, every business has the ins and outs, and anyone who does anything full time sort of picks up, an extra leg up when it comes to simple tasks. What kind of strategies and stuff that people probably don't understand about what you do that would be interesting to the public? Like, for example, tax accountants know how to save you tons of money on taxes,
right, with
various different tactics. What are like the weird things that people wouldn't understand if they didn't do what you did?
I mean, in essence, this is sort of like a customer service in a way. So if there's this brand, you might see them on TikTok and they help you start your business. You see them always in the ads. I've had more requests come in about I need a refund from them than anything else. We're probably the only company in the world that knows what to say and who to speak to get that refund the fastest.
Wow.
But beyond that, what our job, I think, as trolls, what we really do probably as well as anyone is we have really high EQs. Empathy. It's not about us. I mean, that's why our identity doesn't matter. That's why, I sit in this world of startups and all these businesses, and I probably have the most fun one to talk about. And I just don't even introduce. I tell people I'm in marketing. Because it's not about me. I need to understand this person's problem is the most important thing in their life, in their day right now. Make it about that, focus on that, and find a solution. And that's why it's a lot like, if I was running a football team, I would have a team of game manager quarterbacks. Nobody throwing Hail Marys. We'd have the most boring offense in the world. We'd run the ball every down. Just try to make the smartest decision, the least amount of problems. And so I have a team of decision makers who have to have a moral compass, understand what their North Star is, and a really high EQ. So
hypothetically, how many accounts might be under your control?
So I don't do any of the, my hands aren't on the wheel anymore. I have really good squads under me, both in the US, and then I have a group over in the UK that handles there in Europe, in Australia. On any given day, we can have, 5 big projects we're working on, then a few smaller ones.
Oh, nice. What's your pricing like? Depending on the job?
It depends. So we build custom packages. We have retainers, people who don't know when they're going to need us, just know they will. But most people get in. We have a social media troll, and that's just when you want some help with comments, starts at $55. You want something a little more intense, it's $120. And then if we call it unhinged, and that's when you want a lot, you really want to send a message, it's $320.
Wow. I mean, so honestly, getting into the business side of things, so you're running a startup. Are you looking for investors?
I get calls from investors all the time. They want to be the guy who has on their mantle, this is the company that I'm invested in. Watch what happens. And then when it comes to it, they never really put pen to paper, but I always am able to get the door open. Just nothing seems to happen.
And they want to be invested in it because they want the backing of the trolls?
Originally, maybe I'll start with the origin of how this started. I was working with a small business, as part of the marketing team. And they were like, we just don't have the money to pay an agency anymore for services. What we really need is somebody to say that our main competitor is lying about where their product's manufactured. So I said, oh, well, how much would you pay for that? And next thing you know, they're paying me a monthly fee to just every time somebody says, I love that this is made in the US, I go in and say, it's actually made in Pakistan. Here's a link to a review on Amazon that shows a picture. And I did that. And then another company came, and it was like this chatter amongst these business owners was like, these people will do that. So I believe there are a few people who want the trolls on their side, don't want them against them at least. But there are also people, and I'm sure you see it here in that Silicon Valley world, who want this portfolio of a bunch of unique things. And they seem to start the conversation. I had a phone call with a guy on last week, and he is a meme person. He makes memes. He gets companies to pay him $5,000 a month, and he'll make them endless meme. Excuse me. He'll make them endless memes. And he was like, would you ever consider buying me? Can we merge? Like, I don't want to have to get new business, but people need my services. And he's like, and I can make your post go viral for $10,000. And I was like, well, I got to hear this. So you're trying to tell me for $10,000, you can get me all. And it was, it's a lot of eyewash out there. It wasn't doing anything like that. He's just posting and posting and posting and hitting the same people. But there's a lot of folks out there who are trying to turn sort of these digital internet services into these mainstream businesses.
Wow. I mean, honestly, you have actually a quite a great niche in the economy. I mean, you're just talking, the business of trolling is actually quite lucrative. I mean, if I was any sort of, if I was hypothetically like a hotel that was getting bad reviews, like you probably do Yelp as well, correct? We are
Yelp certified even.
Oh, wow.
We know how their algorithm works, how the review system works.
Honestly, so technically, I just started this podcast a couple months ago. So someone like me would be like, I'm starting this podcast. Could I pay your services to promote it and sort of give it interactions and get it going?
Right. And you would go on, Reddit, whatever, all these different places. And all of a sudden you see these little things pop up, and they would just look like normal people because they are normal people. Huh. And it would get the conversation going.
Wow. Well, now I think everyone's going to think I'm going to use this service.
I don't think you need to. I was listening. I don't think you need us.
I appreciate that. But looking ahead, do you know, and I know it's funny because Barstool is one of those things, and one of the largest hazards of the job, which there are very little hazards of the job, not complaining about being a content creator at Barstool, but it is the haters, the trolls. We had a couple of situations within the company of individuals, Rico Bosco before he was reformed.
Who I read a blog, and he was asked about professional trolls. He had a lot of commentary for somebody who.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a little surprising.
Well, I think he's quit any of that.
Oh,
there's just tons of examples in the Barstool history of individuals being trolls. Rico Bosco went after a guy's wife. Low key, we're not going to talk about that. He's past that. He's reformed. But if any Barstool employee were to use your services against other employees, I think that would be, I know confidentiality. And do you make people sign NDAs?
Sometimes they ask for them, but it's built into the working contract.
Oh, nice. What do you think about the new law that states NDAs are unconstitutional? And
I know plenty of people who don't live by. We know what our honor code is, but we also benefit from the promotion of someone saying they use our services. So if they want to say they use us, great. We're never going to snitch.
Mm. So how did this all get out?
What, the Alex Bennett stuff?
Yeah.
So again, and I want to reiterate, especially for any of her attorneys that may be listening.
Okay.
We acknowledge Alex Bennett's name is not on anything that paid us. We never had direct contact with her. We never, there was never anything with her letterhead, her corporate name, business card, anything like that. So I believe what happened was we had an account that used us, and they didn't pay. And so it was said amongst our team, if anyone can get them to pay, we'll split the money with them, any of our team members. So I believe somebody then went to I think to Reddit, into an influencer page and said, "Hey, I heard that," trying to apply a little pressure that way. "I heard this about so and so. If anyone knows her, get her to pay." And then it turned into all of these people deciding what that person paid. If they, first off, they thought it was real, they assumed it was true. They then went off to say what this person would pay for. And then then the KFC radio guys decided it was about them, and then suggested it was about another one of their coworkers when it was said it's not. And, I think that's really one of the lessons here. If any of us can take anything from any of this, it's like, it's not about us. Like, you hear this person's getting trolled, and your mind, if your mind's going to a place of it's got to be against me, you got to look in the mirror and say, ask the bigger questions. Why would it be? Maybe I should be doing something differently, because no one should go through their life like that, assuming that if someone has something bad to say, it's about you.
Huh. So as a business owner, you're a little pissed about it leaking, because you think that it makes, the service that you're providing not as confidential as you market.
Exactly. And especially when it's so easy to say we had nothing to do with it because we don't know that person.
Okay. So basically there was a third party involved in the transaction that was acting as a marketer, and there's that element too.
Beyond that, it could even be someone who doesn't like them, who wanted this all to happen.
Oh, how do you balance the publicity that you're getting from this? Because have you seen a business uptick since this situation occurred?
Not business, but definitely views.
Okay.
But I think there'll be a little bit of a halo effect down the road now that people know it exists. But I've seen the comments. Some people can't believe this is real. Other people are like, there is a need for that. That's interesting.
I absolutely know, there's definitely a huge market for your services.
Well, there's a referral bonus if you need some cash.
Oh, but it's funny because sometimes you see individuals online, you just notice a pattern in the commenters. So you'll see certain spins, and maybe I'm a little paranoid, but sometimes in my comments, I'll see the exact types of phrases and same types of insults used at me. And in my head, I'm like, are these bots?
Right.
And it's hard, you're saying before, you got to look into yourself, see, but you can't live your life paranoid thinking that everyone's after you. But there is sometimes patterns that I pick up on, and I'm like, wait a second, all these guys are saying the exact, disses, so I ran for,
I saw it, right.
I ran for Congress.
It was a good run too.
Yeah. Sucks. It didn't work out. From a legal standpoint, it honestly has made me a little jaded about our whole political system in the United States, because basically there was absolutely zero democracy involved in how it played out. But there was bots that were very targeted, and I could totally see how there's political money, because now that I know how much money is behind politics and how many people can get paid and how big of a business on top of, a scam it is. I could imagine, and I'm just going to make an assertion, you don't have to confirm or deny, that political candidates have probably used your service in certain degrees.
Well, I'd actually like to ask you a question, have a bigger conversation about this. We've seen an uptick in that, a lot of requests, a lot of things. And we're never going to make it so our votes are for sale. If we have people here, you're never going to be like, all right, we need 10 votes for this. Here you go. So for instance, there was a person who came to us and said, this person lives outside the district they're running in. Could you just make people aware of that?
Oh.
So I did a little of, so we had to go, we had a little of it. And, I was reading it as it came in, kind of trying to get some proof of concept here. And, someone said, I don't know why you're arguing this, that the other candidate doesn't live in the district either. So no one's right. No one's, they're all playing the same game. And the only reason they know to say it is because they're doing it themselves. And it is a problem. But like you're saying, if democracy isn't real, why can't I be a soldier of fortune?
So, So I will admit, so my family's from the district I ran in, but at the time, because my job's in New York City, I'm living in New York City. So I wasn't living in the district, but it is part of the district is in New York City. So it's kind of like I was planning to move to the district.
Nice.
During the election. I was looking at places. I'm trying to move out of the apartment, move into a house. So I was like doing apartment tours during the election. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of my opponents was trying to frame that as me not living in the district. But also we found out that all the other opponents, like my other opponent, one didn't live allegedly where he put his voter information. So like, and this is the crazy thing. I got disqualified. They charged me with 3,000 counts of fraud for signatures. They said that every signature that I got was fraud. So to fight in civil court where you're not innocent until proven guilty, fighting 3,000 counts of fraud. But then we were like, wait a second, the guy who's suing me, who's another candidate, his address, and they're saying this is fraud because this address is not matching up to the voter base, but his own address wasn't where he was living. So that would then disqualify him off the ballot. But, then it just became power and money. We were a grassroots program, a grassroots campaign. And at the end of the day, I was like, I cannot in good faith go raise money to fight this court case because I don't think we can win it with the resources we have. Like I had a 20% chance of getting on the ballot after probably having to raise $150,000, close to that. And that's where I was kind of like, okay, this is why good people don't get into politics, because I could not in good faith go do that. But there are people who will go to the extra 1,000 miles, lying, deceit, and everything to get into that position of power. And that's what separates the politicians from the rest of the population. The level of psychopathy that it takes to go that extra mile that I just didn't do. And so you're seeing a lot of uptick in politicians using your business. So I can't even imagine some of the requests and dirt that people bring up.
We had a gentleman reach out, and he said, there's these candidates in our area are terrible. You got to help us. This Facebook group is just out of control. I joined the Facebook group, and I did it like these political ones I've been doing myself, because I just don't want any blood on anyone's hands until we figure out where we stand on this.
Yeah.
So I was in there, and I was messaging. Then I get this private message from a person, and like, hey, could you tone it down a little bit? We're trying to keep things civil, and it feels like you're escalating conversations. And then I was like, I'm just trying to say my point here. Make a case here, a different perspective. I'm new around town, type of thing. They're like, email me. We can have a conversation. I emailed the person who started that Facebook group for that county, where it's supposed to be like open forum talk, and they were one of the candidates.
Oh,
that whole time they were just controlling what people were allowed to talk about.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can share, what are some of your wilder requests that you've gotten?
So before, when we spoke on Friday and we were trying to arrange this, I took the weekend to get some permission to tell some stories so we can, have a little fun too. And instead of me saying no comment. So there was a musician who may or may not have performed at a Super Bowl halftime. And they made a change in their band before a tour. And they're like, we're going to get a lot of hate from those families. Could you be on the lookout for those comments? So I said, sure, no problem. So we started to monitor, had the crew looking things over, and it was crickets. No one cared. Nothing. Everyone moved on. A week passes. We get a request. Hey, could you comment on that musician's account that they have a new band and they hate them and they cost people their jobs and it's so mean and all of this stuff. And they used a different name, but it was the same credit card as the charge. So it was the person on behalf of the artist felt so bad that the band didn't care and was commenting on the artist that they paid to have trolls on the artist so their ego would get fluffed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm trying to guess who it is, but I won't in the moment. But I mean, do you receive more larger, sort of, I consider that a corporate gig, quote unquote, as opposed to like personal feuds?
The majority of things I would say are business related. We get a ton of, here's my ex-husband cheating again. Here's his new girlfriend. She did this comment about, we get a lot of that domestic.
Oh, wow. So at that point when you have like, private citizens, right? Like individuals who don't have large followings.
Right.
It's probably harder to sort of hide and disguise the comments. Like, for example, if you sent someone after me, right? Like there's I'm not trying to brag, but there's so many comments in that you could sneak in insults because, there's probably insults in there. But when you're dealing with someone who has low amount of followers and, they're on Instagram and they get about like 100 likes and 5 comments.
Right.
How can you slip in organically the disses or whatnot? And
that's what makes how I feel us to be the premier trolls in the business is that when we're in there commenting, it's piquing the person's curiosity. It's getting them to, did I just smell a fart or is that something else? It's that moment of questioning, and that's all that somebody usually wants is for someone to reflect. So this idea that it has to be this hard hitting, right jab. The art of subtlety is ultimately more poignant.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, like for you, for instance, if somebody was to target you, we were talking about this like around here. What do you think is something that if someone put this in would just like get on it? Would it be the switch to receiver? Would it be not moving to Chicago? Like things like that, where you're just like, got me.
Yeah. So it actually is crazy because when people hit you with like terrible insults, right? Where it's just like, you're fat, ugly, idiot. The stuff that you got in middle school and high school that you've like grown up dealing with, like doesn't phase me. Like people being like, you're a space cadet, idiot, whatever. Like that's like, okay, like I've dealt with that. Like like you're fat or like something crazy. Like, but it's the ones that are like, you're just irresponsible with your career. like how could you pass up the greatest podcast? Like,
right.
Stuff where it's kind of like, like, am I fucking up my own life? But then you have to give context because a lot of people don't know a lot of the context to my decisions. So that stuff is sort of, that's how you can walk it off. But sometimes you get hit with something where it's like, yeah, why did I do that? Like,
right.
But honestly, I'm in a fishbowl of sorts. Like,
no, I get it. Yeah.
So whenever people are critical, it's like, yeah, I missed work one day because I got, because I slept in. Yeah,
you're a lazy guy. No wonder you're there, not Chicago. No wonder.
But, it's one of those things where I kind of grew up in front of the internet in a weird way. So that one time you fucked up when you were 23, like everyone, like you fucked up when you're 23 at work, you could just say you were sick that day. And then your boss would be like, is this motherfucker actually sick and he missed a day? Like, or was something else happen? But because there's no intrapersonal relationship and you can't be open about things, it gets swept under the rug. But me, I just got held over the coals. Like, it is what it is.
Right. And I think like you're in an interesting point where you did grow up with the internet and you are able to recognize that. Whereas, your colleagues over there at KFC Radio are so jaded. Their assumption is this comment is going for my jugular. People want me down, etc. When nothing has to be that serious.
I don't know how. I really don't know the context of how they know that they think that the trolls are going after them. I'm not sure.
I know, and I don't even mean to trash them. I just mean, like, we were sitting here listening to it, and I felt bad that that's where their minds went, that something could be like that to them, because it's, a lot of the folks we work with are people who just need a friend.
So did they have people go, like, well, let me just ask you, did they have people go after them, or did they? I
will say this, and I'll say it to them. We've never in the history of our company had anyone type the letters KFC, even radio. So nothing was ever directed at them.
Well, what about at fights?
No, nothing at him either. Neither person.
I cannot confirm.
No, and again, I'm not a poet. They are allowed to say whatever they want. I honestly just wish their minds were a little more at peace at what they do every day. That because they are getting, I looked at the comments, they do get a lot of comments that are negative and personal even. So, I wish there was like more productive conversations happening there.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, something that I've talking about the psychology of commenters and trolls. Happy people don't type things.
Right.
Happy people who are content with the content, like people who are like, oh, this was a great video. They're more likely the only action to do is a like. Whereas people who are angry, predisposed to anger and depression, who knows? Something I found is that there's certain times a year that people comment negative stuff.
Let's talk about that. I have some stats for you.
I'd love to hear them. My theory, and I have no data to back it up, is like Mondays, there's more negative reactions. Certain times of the year, like over the holidays, when people have more time, they're spending time with their family, they tend to comment negative things. Early January, after the holidays, like technically when like, my theory is when seasonal depression sort of takes hold, there tends to be more negativity on the internet. But I don't have the stats, but I'd love to hear your...
I can't speak to the depression part, but you were right on with the seasonality of it. Much like a regular e-commerce store, we had our Black Friday right after Thanksgiving. A lot of people had some type of experience, whether it was the travel, the family, the whatever. Wanted some type of revenge, or like the retail experience. They wanted some type of revenge. Right after the holidays, New Year's, saw that uptick again. We see a lot of late night Fridays. So I think that speaks more to your Monday thing. These are the people who don't have the plans, don't have anywhere to be, and they're just like, or they had a happy hour and they came home and they're kind of having these restless thoughts.
Oh.
But yeah, the holidays boom for us. July 4th was huge.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Honestly, that wasn't in my calendar as one of the bad times.
Right.
July 4th.
No, next year we'll run a sale.
Yeah, because July 4th was one of those holidays I thought people were more spending time with who they wanted to spend time with, as opposed to like other holidays where families more center. But that's actually really interesting. And also late summer, kind of not now, but in like a week. Historically, I found, because it's sort of like a late Sunday night vibe where it's like back to school. But honestly, your line of work is fascinating to me. From that, probably because I work in the line of work I work, whereas your sector is very interesting to me. I'd love to hear if you have any more stories you can share, because I just the reasoning behind some of this stuff is do you have any prison, like people who are incarcerated go after the arresting officers?
I've never had that. That's interesting. I had the opposite, where there was this guy in United Kingdom who was imprisoned, and I guess they get computer time over there. I really don't know how it works, but he had a dating profile. And these girls came and they're like, we got to get this taken down. He's basically catfishing people. And he's like, I'm away for work. Are you available in 4 weeks type of thing? And so Right. So we called up and we had to speak to a prison person and say, because somebody just check on what he's doing on the computer.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, there's weirdly, the dating app for the incarcerated for some reason tends to be Facebook dating.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. Like it's not Tinder. It's not the apps because they're not Facebook dating isn't location based.
I see.
They can get a better outreach because if you're on Tinder and you're, 10 square miles is the prison.
Oh, you get pretty jacked up. You're looking good.
Yeah. But that's nuts.
On Friday, got a message about midday from someone saying, hey, you've seen this George Mason situation. They were supposed to participate in a basketball game in the Bahamas, and the students were supposed to take part in a local excursion and get some experiences, and they looked forward to it, and they put up a ton of money to go. And they got scammed. There was no game. It was the Fire Fest of basketball games.
Oh, my God.
So somebody came to us and they said, we need someone to apply pressure to this guy. They didn't have a George Mason EDU email or anything. This person wasn't on the behalf of the school. And I said, absolutely. So the person running it put out an apology, whatever, didn't care, didn't say anything about refunding, anything like that. So we sat here and like, how can we really get this guy? Auburn has a basketball game with that same company during the season. So we reached out to all the SEC bloggers, Auburn radio people, and they're starting to ask, why is Auburn going in this? This guy's a scammer. So he's about to lose his future business, and that's going to make him, hopefully set things straight with George Mason.
Do you only take on contracts that you feel are just?
No, I wish I could say that. Someday, hopefully I'll be able to say that. We ask questions. We try to make sure it's rooted in something real and that we kind of have the story straight. But I mean, there's situations where, there's a lot of sour grapes people lost out on an account, missed a job, whatever, who want to feel a little better about it. In the real early days, we were taking on things that I kind of wish we hadn't. There was a person who did like 4 rounds of interviews and then didn't even get a, hey, we're not hiring you email. They wanted something. So we had somebody offer their talent recruiter a job and had them interview 4 times and then just ghost them, give them a little. But stuff like that, I wish we didn't do.
You simulated 4 rounds of job interviews?
Right.
Did you still offer that package?
We try to help as much as we can, but we took that one a little too far. Hand up.
What's the legality of that? I mean, I guess, when you don't hear from a job interview, you just don't think about it after being like, I never heard from these guys.
Well, I mean, we have a company. We outline the responsibilities. We spoke to the person. I mean, this person was a recruiter. They should know what their rights are.
Yeah. True. Well, I'm trying to think if I ever would use your service. I probably would only do it for something that, is more of a public figure Delta screwed me.
That's something I want to, I think a lot of people lose track of that. Is like, if you're someone like you have a few 100,000 people listening to you, you complain about something, somebody will pop in your DMs with a solution. Most people complaining about Delta never hear anything. We have a ton of people who are like, I just don't have the time. I know I'm supposed to get a voucher. Who are like, how much is it for you to just get on the phone with them? And it's pennies to most people, but just that element of feeling square means a lot. Oh,
true. I mean, you do give a voice to the voiceless.
And that's it. Right.
Wow. Huh. Well, honestly, I've gotten a much better view of what you guys do. I honestly there is a real role in, there is a purpose that is kind of just at the end of the day, because in this crazy internet world that we live in, you're giving a voice to the voiceless, and people who, have been wronged or feel wronged get a sense of power in a way.
I hate to use metaphors and analogies, but it's a lot like Batman. you put on the mask and you can get stuff done. Bruce Wayne was the richest guy around, still had nothing.
Wow. Huh. Yeah, no one cared until I put on the mask.
That's exactly what it is. And I will, you're the hero long enough, you died watching yourself be the villain or whatever. That will happen. I understand that. I recognize that.
You either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain.
Right.
KG, unless you have any more stories you'd like to share.
Well, I mean, I want to make it clear to the Alex Bennett's, to the KFCs, sorry that your names are being dragged into this, and people are accusing you of things, and you're accusing people of things and putting you in this position. And, it has nothing to do with what we're doing over here. If you would like some help with anything, that's paythetrolltoll.com. Happy to help any of you, no prejudice. Good luck. And, maybe the comments are trying to tell you something and it's time to listen.
Is there any way you have a contract that prevents other people from trolling me?
Well, no, right. Like we will look, if people are going after you, you see these same people, you absolutely hire, and we will take care of it.
Or could I hire you to make sure no one hires you to come after me?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, we could do that.
So a retainer, but not to do any action, a retainer just to inaction. Just leave me alone.
Yeah. Deal.
Or even taking a step further, report these people to me. Is there anything like that?
Yeah, no, I wish.
You're definitely someone I want on my side, and I'm trying to figure out how I can.
I had one story for you that I think as an animal person you'll appreciate.
Oh.
So something you might not know, and you probably do because you like this, the horse trade industry. There are people getting taken advantage of for a lot of money in the horse world. I've had more horse requests. As much as anything else, it's been horse requests.
Oh my God. That actually makes a lot of sense. When it comes to a horse, I mean, think about a car. You can sell someone a lemon, but you can't look under the hood of a horse.
There's a lot of people and there's a lot of money at hand. There's horses who've seen better days getting sold for $5,000, then going to these auctions and getting sold for $35,000 to these small family-owned farms that rely on that horse to perform.
Yeah.
They don't have it set. That's their horse for the year. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. I mean, I knew livestock auctions and, that whole thing, horses are tricky because you can't really kick the tires on them until you really own them and spend time with them.
I was working with a person and she sent over to our team all the evidence. This woman did the investigation. She's like, this is this horse. It was sold in, wherever it was, Arizona last month with this name. It's the identical horse, same name, look, the same identification number, whatever it is. It's just sold with a new name. And here you see it's marked that it has this problem. And if you look over here on the auction, it no longer has that problem. This family owned farm in the middle of nowhere spent $50,000 on this horse that medical bills alone will spend another $50,000 on, and it probably won't live to 4 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Right. It's horrible.
That is terrible. I mean, your service is great because it's just, it's probably more effective than a lawsuit in a way.
That's sort of the impetus of it, that it was more effective. It was more, I have lawyers reach out to us. We have lawyers who are like, this is going to take forever. It's going to drag on. I need this person to feel something tomorrow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Honestly, to be on the record, I don't know if I will use your service just because I don't want to be accused of using it. In my business, I shouldn't be allowed to use a troll farm. I think, but so who are your average employees?
That's a great question. You'd be surprised if somebody tells me they've been trolling their whole life for free, they might as well get paid. They will not be hired. That is not somebody we need. We have a lot of teachers, creative writers, aspiring comedians, and just most of them are people who have a lot of good judgment and don't really want the attention. They're happy to just have their writing out there and to get the reps in as a jokester.
Huh. That's I would love to work for you for like a week.
Yeah. Dirty jobs.
But
Yeah.
but I mean, I couldn't be attached to it, just like for shits and gigs. But KG, really appreciate you coming on. I think you'll definitely have given a much better view of the entire situation. You know, it's crazy world. Commenters are crazy. You know, I deal with them day to day. So I'm fascinated by your industry and fascinated by your business. Thank you so much for coming on. Paythetrolltoll.com. If you want to use their services, please don't use them against me.
Don't use them against Billy. We won't take your business. You'll get refunded.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Do you have a contract where we can make that set in stone?
Yeah, we can talk after the show.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And this is Riverside. So just after we stop recording, just wait for the video to upload.
Okay.
So, but it's at like 92% right now. But perfect. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you.
You know, hopefully people use his business for good, for whatever, when you need a voice, when you're voiceless. But thank you guys so much. Subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to Twitter, Instagram, Audio Crack. Check it out. Thank you guys.
What is one TV show you wish you can get a reboot or another season of?
Blue Mountain State. I love Blue Mountain State so much. It's funny because where I went to college, I mean, it wasn't Blue Mountain State, but we used to call it Purple Mountain State because we were in the Purple Mountains. But yeah, I mean, that's why the colors are purple. And actually, I need to find the Snapchat, but I literally edited.
Did you have a different colored turf field?
No, that would have been sick though. The end zone was purple.
I would say Entourage. Would love another season of Entourage. Can't go wrong with that.
Entourage, definitely. Game of Thrones, I almost wanted another season just because the ending was so terrible to the first one.
You want to read it?
I want to redo. Lost was amazing.
I never saw Lost.
Lost must have been, honestly, with a lot of these TV shows, so many like TV shows got away with just being bad at the end. You know what I'm saying?
How I Met Your Mother, the last season, 22 episodes is just them at a wedding.
I mean, Breaking Bad ended well. I really respect TV shows that have huge followings and the writers don't just mail it in the last season.
They were smart. They only did 5 seasons. So they peaked out at the end. That's what you want. That's how you become one of the greatest shows of all time. The Wire also had 5 seasons too. The Sopranos also, they did 6 seasons, but still ended on a high note.
I do think the ending was good though for The Sopranos, even though it was like just went to black. I mean, that's better than a bad ending, you know?
It just keeps the people talking for the next 20 years.
I mean, nothing might be better than bad.
You ever see that Family Guy clip? It's like, you will recommend Breaking Bad to everyone you know.
Yeah. Breaking
Bad is possibly the greatest show ever besides The Wire.
Breaking Bad was sick. Science, bitch.
You have to watch The Wire.
I have not watched The Sopranos all the way through. I've watched them on and off. I know what happens.
Hank should have got you into it.
But like I know what happens in the whole, series, but
you still have to watch it.
I have not actually seen The Wire.
The Wire is probably the greatest show of all time that no one gives credit to. It's a 9.3 on IMDb. It is one of the greatest shows of all time.
Wow. I mean, I do need to check it out. I'm trying to think if there's any other show I've been watching recently.
It goes Breaking Bad is a 9.4. The Wire is a 9.3. Game of Thrones and The Sopranos is tied at 9.2. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a 9.2, but nobody will.
The anime one?
Listen to my argument about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
What's your argument about it?
They just scream at me it's a kid's show. I tell them it's more than a kid's show and that everyone should watch it. And they just, if you're not like 12 years old, they don't want to hear about it.
And then the Fire Nation attacked.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Do you remember that lineup, Thursday night NBC, when it used to be Parks and Rec, The Office, 30 Rock, and then outsourced? It was the funniest thing ever. They had this, it was a TV show about a call center in India that was just so problematic, but hilarious. I mean, it was like, I think it got canceled just because it was problematic, not because it was bad. It was about this dude from America. They shut down the call center in America and they outsourced it to India. And then he goes to India and just like the cultural differences. And he walks in one day and there's just a SWAT stick on the wall because that's like a Hindu sign, and like one day they're trying to sell like ghost costumes, but it looks like a KKK costume. It was like one of the most problematic but like hilarious shows, and it's crazy that it all just got canceled. But that was such a crazy lineup back in the day. Like before you could stream, everyone used to watch the TV on a Thursday night and like talk about the Office episode.
The lineup I think about is after the 4:25 football game on Fox, it would cut to The Simpsons, which I didn't really watch. Then it would be 8:30 was The Cleveland Show, 9 o'clock was Family Guy, and then 9:30 was American Dad. And that was animation domination.
That's a good one. Then there was the, was it Fox or ABC? That would be The Middle, and then Modern Family.
Yes, the middle at 8:30, Modern Family 9.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened after that. But that was such a staple of childhood, was the Middle on Wednesday, Middle Modern Family Wednesday, Thursday The Office, and all those great NBC shows.
That's back when cable ran the game.
You know, maybe this country would be more united if everyone watched the same TV shows again at the same time and had something to talk about.
In honor of surviving Barstool Season 4 talks around the company, I was a proud purchaser, by the way, of Season 3, great entertainment. Let's say Barstool had a company-wide Pong tourney for a 50 grand prize winner. Who are the first 3 guys you're sending out feelers to for a Pong partner?
Beer pong?
Yes.
Dana. I mean, that's easy. Dana Beers. Because the thing is, he has the touch like basketball, and he can booze. So definitely Dana. Then probably Dukes. Dukes can get it going. And then probably going to have to go with, we need a vibes guy. I'm probably going to go with Marty.
Can you order anything but steak, in parentheses, medium rare, at a steakhouse?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can order rare steak, but you know that there's something called medium rare plus?
I knew you were going to say that.
And no one actually does it. Like, it does exist, but honestly, I just feel like it's an asshole move.
Medium rare plus does not exist outside the Pardon My Take world.
Yeah, I mean, you can order medium rare plus, but it's kind of like, what the fuck? I mean, honestly, I once shared a steak with my buddy who likes it way overdone. And I was like talking to the guy, and I was like, look, you should just get it medium rare. This is way too good of a steakhouse to get it well done. And he was like, no, I like my steak. I don't like the pink.
Daddy used to knock them down, yeah, and I should have known not to mess around with the nightlife or the bright lights or the women who won't be my wife. He told me, Sonny, leave them vices on the shelf. Oh, but the dog's in the dive with a silver bullet, and if a keg's alive, I'm singing, hey man, pull it, till the barkeep started calling me the saint. Save my soul. Ever since I first turned 17, it's girls, guitar, cigar,